What's up and welcome to Ahead of the Curve. This is your host, Jonathan Gelner, and thank you so much for joining us today. This podcast is powered by Stick and Ball TV, the baseball and softball streaming platform. If you're a coach who is listening to this right now, then I know you want to get better, and Stick and Ball is just for you. With weekly updated videos from some of the greatest baseball and softball coaches in the country, it's an absolute slam dunk, no-brainer. Check them out at stickandball.tv or on the Stick and Ball TV mobile app. Today we have on Michael Earley, hitting coach for the Texas A&M Aggies. Michael is in his first season as the hitting coach at A&M and arrives in the Brazos Valley after 5 seasons at Arizona State. Earley has built a reputation for developing hitters, with his most notable work being the rise of Spencer Torkelson to the number 1 pick in the 2020 MLB Draft, who went undrafted out of high school. Also in the 2020 draft, 4 of Earley's hitters were selected, as Arizona State was the only school in the country to boast 5 players chosen in the shortened 5-round draft. So on today's show, we talk about his transition to College Station, what their player evaluation process for the fall looks like, and he shares with us some video from their fall training sessions. This episode is so good with Michael Earley. Michael, welcome to the show.
What's up, John? Good to be here, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. Enjoying this weather. I'm sure you are down in College Station. It's cooling down a little bit from the 100 temperatures that we've had for the last couple of weeks. But how are things? I mean, last time we talked, you were at ASU, and I'd love to hear, how things are in College Station and how that transition has been. So just, if you don't mind, open up with that.
Yeah, it's good, man. It's, transition's always tough. The first week you're trying to figure out where the bathroom's at and try not to make anyone mad, but it's been a really smooth transition, just because the people here in College Station are beyond welcoming. I mean, I got so many stories of just showing up with a moving truck and an alumni coming over and bringing me 2 extra movers just to help out. So just the transition has been extremely, extremely smooth. So a lot of great people in College Station.
Well, that's wonderful. But last time we talked, again, you guys were absolutely crushing it on the offensive side of things. And then, things have changed a little bit with that. And you made the move to College Station. So I'd love to hear just, again, with the transition that you had to go through. I'm sure that's not easy at all. But working for Coach Smith and now working for Slosh, 2 of the best guys in the game for sure. Could you highlight a little bit of that for us? Because I think that it's really neat that you got to work for both of them.
Yeah, it's I've gotten lucky just, in my career so far, just being able to start off at a place like ASU and now being at A&M. So I'd say I'm definitely more lucky than a good coach. You just got to be right spot, right time. And so, working for Coach Smith, I owe Coach Smith everything. I love that man. He gave me my opportunity. He coached me as a player. Just he's a friend of mine, more so than a boss. Just a great guy. And I'm not sitting here today or in this game at all without him. So I can't thank him enough. He's just amazing person. His wife, Jamie, the whole family, love him to death. So definitely miss him. But because of him and the opportunity he gave me, I'm able to be at a place like Texas A&M and work for Coach Schlossnagel, who's an unbelievable, I've been with him now for, probably 5 weeks on the field. And the fact, his ability to communicate and just overall feel is off the charts. His feel and communication with the players is unbelievable. And that guy, he can coach every position on the field. He is one of the best, if not the best, baseball coach I've ever been around, just because he can coach the outfield, pitchers, catchers, infield with no problem, complete confidence, complete feel, able to communicate. He is, he went to Omaha 5 times in 10 years. I don't think that happens by mistake. And you knew he was good, but just I've learned so much in just a short time. And sometimes I'm just silent because I'm just absorbing as much as I can and trying to write stuff down. So he is, I think, in a league of his own with just probably a few other people. So it's really nice to be able to work with him every single day.
Oh, that's wonderful. It seems like, the players that you guys have, I'm sure you would say we love having the players, but players are really blessed to be able to have you guys as a staff. I mean, you're talking about some of the who's who in the coaching world, which is really, really cool. And I mean, it's just, I know you don't get to see really the pitching side a whole lot. I'm assuming, unless you're competing against each other, but even, having guys like that around. And then, we talked about Chuck Box earlier, who is a very successful high school coach who does a little bit of everything. I mean, it's from the outside looking in, it just seems like you guys may have the best college staff in all of college baseball.
Well, those guys are. I'm trying. Like I told you earlier, I'm just trying to hold up my end. So, but they make you bring it every day. I mean, Coach Yeski, resume speaks for himself, and just another unbelievable guy. Like put his arm around me since I've been here. Just we had some Pac-12 ties, and then Nolan Kane. I've never seen anyone so organized and on top of his stuff as with the recruiting, and very, very good with the catchers. Our ops guy, Jason Hutchins, been here forever. We'd be drowning without him. He's not just an operations guy. Like he knows a ton about baseball. I mean, played for a long time. Chuck Box, Will Fox, good rhyme there, but just a lot of great people who I just think I don't know if, I think we're a good staff just because I think people just take pride in what they do and everyone enjoys being here. And everyone, I think when you got guys that are around you you feel like are really good, like you don't ever want to slip up. So it's good. It's tough. Like you have to bring it every day, but everyone's great and everyone shares information and advice, and it's really cohesive so far. We've only played one game together, so things will change. But right now the vibe is great. I couldn't ask for anything better.
I love that. So one of the other things before we really get into the meat of the show, I know you got to spend some time. Well, number one, you guys had an unbelievable offense with some unbelievable players whenever you were at Arizona State. And with that, I mean, with being in Phoenix, you get the opportunity to work with, different guys from around the baseball world. And, one of those being Nolan Arenado. And so you've got Spencer Torkelson, you've got Nolan Arenado. I mean, you've got Hunter Bishop among the laundry list of guys that you've been blessed to work with, who've been blessed to work with you. But I just want to know, like, compare Nolan to just, working with him. What was that like? And for those curious how a big leaguer trains, can you tell us a little bit about what that experience was like and what you learned from it?
Well, first off, the first 2 years Nolan came and hit at ASU, I didn't say a word to him except good job. I wasn't
sure.
He wasn't coming to work with me. He was just coming to work there, and we actually have become pretty good friends. And then just over the last year, I've got the chance to actually work with him 2 or 3 times. And working with him is a lot of you're just telling him good job, because whatever you ask him to do or tell him to do, he does it immediately. But the cool part is just seeing it for him, like how obsessed he is with his craft. Like it's unbelievable. I mean, the most fun thing I've got to do with him is actually hitting ground balls, where I definitely don't say anything. And that how he attacks and goes about his business is unbelievable. But the difference in working with him and like a college guy, besides the fact that he's just a lot better than them right now, is not any different. I mean, he wants to be, when you're talking with him, he just wants to know the truth, and he wants to know what it is. Like there's no secret sauce. There's nothing different besides the fact that he has a little more aptitude. He has way better ability to make adjustments and just the consistency level. But other than that, working with, some of the pro guys I've worked with or Nolan or some of the younger guys, it's a lot of the same. It's just trying not to complicate the game. So, working with him, he likes to keep it very, very simple. I mean, extremely old school in his thought process and approach. And he's just, his aptitude and his work ethic that is the difference. Like I've only had one other guy, I think, that works like him. And that guy was the first overall pick. So just that the energy they bring, when they train is, I think, half the battle.
Sure, no doubt. And I truly think the more that I study high performers, I think, you have to be truly passionate and obsessed with what you're doing. And I mean, I don't know that you can train that. And I know that there's some guys, I think that's the it factor of I'm obsessed. Like I'm not going to stop until I reach my ceiling. And, you listen to guys like that and hear stories like that. And I'm like, man, like they truly love what they're doing, but they're obsessed with the continuous improvement and getting 1% better every single day. And I love hearing.
Yeah, and a guy like Nolan doesn't need anyone to tell him how to hit. And like I said, our conversations are usually pretty brief, and it's usually just my privilege to be able to be there with him. But I know we're talking about hitting, but hitting that guy ground balls is the most fun thing to do ever on a baseball field, because it just goes back to how he approaches everything. And, I've got to do it 2 or 3 times, and it's something to see. It's something to see for sure.
And the funny thing about that is he was not a glove first guy. I don't think. Like you look at his prospect reports, and he's really had to work on his body. I mean, because he was kind of a chubby kid, and you see that now, and it's like, man, he had to work. He probably had some natural gifts. I'm sure he did.
I'm guessing someone told him that somewhere, and just knowing him in the brief time I've known him, if he couldn't field, it probably drove him crazy, and he figured it out in 2 days. So
that's awesome.
That's him.
No, and I quick story, and not that I've gotten a ton of experiences with him, but whenever the new stadium in the new Ranger Stadium was opened up, they opened it up for staff, and so we were the only ones there because it was in the COVID year. And watching him at third base, he is the most active player I've ever seen. He's literally taking like 15 to 20 steps in between pitches, and he's just literally talking the whole time. And I had to take video of it because I'm like, I've never seen a player that is more locked into every single pitch. And he would like prep step and go, and then the rest of the time he'd just be talking and literally like walking. He probably got 10,000 steps just from walking around third base. It was crazy to watch.
Yeah, he's just, like I said, in the brief time knowing him and just getting the chance to become, friends with him, he's just a worker. Like I can't imagine anyone else in the league working harder. Maybe some guys work just as hard, but from my brief time with him, and just, it's different, and it's awesome. Like sure. I wish you could do a 30 for 30 or something and like follow him around, just because he's obsessed with what he does. And when people are obsessed in anything and what they do, it's something I'm interested in, whether it's baseball or chess. It doesn't matter. Like anyone who pours that much into what they do, is cool. So
no doubt. So I want to know, so we've got you guys built the offense. I say you, but I'm sure you and your staff, and you'd give credit to them a ton, and the players as well. But you get to a point to where now we've got all of these things in place that we enjoy doing, that we think that works, and it's a system that worked for the Sun Devils. And now you transition to College Station, and we're right in the middle of it right now, because you guys, and thank you for taking some time this week to be able to do so, but you guys are right in the middle of fall practices. And so this has been, up to this point, you've had like evaluations, you've gotten to know the players a little bit, and you're really starting with a blank slate, with a brand new staff, all new players to you. And so I'd love to hear, what has been your process of trying to decide, who these players are, what they need to work on, what's going to work here based on the players that we have. And I know we could spend an entire hour over that, right. I'm sure, but I'd love to hear just what you've been able to do so far, and what your process has been like.
Yeah. So definitely new for me on that aspect, just because when I was at Arizona State, I became the hitting coach after my first year, but I still knew a lot of the guys on the team. So just coming in fresh was definitely different. And it took a lot of time, just having a lot of individual conversations with the players, and watching their video on synergy, but also at the same time, giving them a clean slate as well. Like the new staff change, and you don't want to judge them on the past. You want to judge them now. So it has definitely been different for me, especially coming in. We have 20 hitters starting out, and that's a lot of different guys, and it's a lot of time to spend with them. But I think communication, like I said, Coach Sloss does an unbelievable job of, and I've learned a lot. I feel like that's always been my biggest strength is the communication piece, and learning how he communicates has helped me out a ton. So it sounds simple, communication, but that's everything when you come from somewhere new, you don't know anybody, and you're talking about hitting, like, which can be a very sensitive topic. And I think the first day we started off, our first day of workouts, we didn't work out. All we did was communicate about what we were going to do. And that put us ahead a few days just instead of trying to figure it out on the fly. So we kind of broke down how we were going to do things. I articulated to them that don't mistake me not talking to you for the first 2 or 3 days as me not coaching. We can't just dive into this thing and start changing stuff. I want to let you guys go and kind of show me what you can do and tell me the stuff you like, the stuff you don't like, and kind of let it happen organically. And now I think we're in week 5 or 6, and it's to the point now where I love when it goes like this. I can't explain how it does, but I get in there a few hours before practice every day, and you don't even have to speak on which drill each guy starts out with or what drill he transitions to. Maybe you add some here or there, but it really flows. And that's the cool part. It's at ASU. I was playing on easy the last couple of years just because I was there for a few years and I had the same guys for a few years. And I just have to teach, 1 or 2 guys every year, and having to teach 20 guys just kind of how I like to do things in the cage mixed with how they like to do things was tough, but now that it's rolling, it's all worth it.
No, I love that. So what does the fall consist of from a team aspect? And, what have you really chosen to focus on with this group? You mentioned communication, but just from the offensive side of things, what is important this time of year for you guys?
We're really hammering on plate discipline, pitch recognition, and routine, taking their breaths, things like that. A lot of stuff that's not – I think my light just went out. There we go. Got a sensor in here. Sorry. A lot of stuff that is not really about the swing, which there's a ton of that going on in the cage. Don't get me wrong. But getting them to a point, mentally where it doesn't matter if we're here or in front of 10,000 people in Baton Rouge or wherever, having that consistency in your day-to-day and what you do. And then back to just the plate discipline part, which has become a huge piece for me here now. And it always was, but Coach Sloss he really hammers it. Like if you swing at a ball, he lets you know. So, it's as simple as swing at the strikes, take the balls, and just really, really enforcing that on every rep, especially the high-speed stuff on the field and in game. And honestly, all the way down to front toss. Like we got guys that take more flips than I've ever seen, but if they're not strikes, they don't swing. And to the point now where some guys I'm even flipping balls on occasion just so it's not complete swing mode. And you have really seen that translate on the field, and it's good. Like if you just really enforce it, like you make it important, guys get really good at it really fast, and just learning to control the zone and making it something a really big part of our game, because the goal is, to get on base. And the simplest form of baseball is get a pitch, your pitch you can hit, and don't swing at the ones you can't, and try not to overcomplicate it.
No doubt. And that's old wisdom that is still true. So I love it. Well, I've got some different things that you guys are doing this fall, and you sent me over some different training videos. And so I'm going to go ahead and share the screen. So for those listening on audio, we'll do our best to be able to translate that. But you guys can find this on Stick and Ball TV. But this first thing is just a sequence that you sent me, and so I'd love to see what are we looking at here with the 5 different pictures, and really set the foundation for the eye that we should be looking through. Like what are your pillars, and then what are a few things that whenever we notice these videos, what should we be looking for?
Yeah. So this, just in general, this is, trying to create one for every player just on. Now, to be able to create one, we have to have something to create it off of. So this kid in a simulated game hit a line drive to center field for a home run about 430 feet. So a swing, what coaches say all the time, like drive the ball to the middle of the field, drive the ball to the middle of the field. This was about as perfect as it can get for this guy in particular. So something I wanted to capture, something for him to be able to look at every day. So just in general, he can go back, and he has the video too. Some guys like video, some guys, this is visual, video is visual, but this is a little different. He can see his setup where, these guys look in the mirror every single day with their bats. He can see his setup. He can kind of see where he went with his load. He's done a good job for this guy. When he came in here, he had way too much of a back shift like got on the outside of his knee. You can see in this, he stays stacked. It's almost, his starting point when he gets to where he goes to launch is about the same. So like where he starts and when he loads and goes, he's about the same as when he started. It makes him a little more adjustable. And the big thing is, that left front shoulder is staying tight. It's staying tight there in that fourth frame. Like it's not flying open too early. And when he could have maybe a little more separation with his legs. Maybe it's the picture. I'm not sure, but it's really the biggest thing. It's a confidence thing for the players. Like he can go back and slow it down and just look at it. And heck, maybe it just makes him feel good that day because he can see it every day in his locker or wherever he has it. But really it's just trying to capture a guy's perfect swing when they take it and then putting it in front of their face as many times as possible just for the mental side of it. But just from a mechanics standpoint, it's about as good as it gets. Maybe slight little more separation, but this kid's 6'5" with long levers, so he can do stuff a little bit differently than most people. And that's the thing too, like individualization is really big with me. So it's, not everyone's the same. Not everything's going to be the same. And, the object is hit the ball hard, and some guys do it differently, but let's get each guy to be as efficient as they can in their style of hitting. And, this kid in particular has done a really good job so far this fall.
I love it. So you guys use mirrors quite a bit?
We don't have them in the cage per se, but if you walk in the locker room or you go in to wash your hands or anything, if you go in their space, you inevitably see guys in mirrors. It's when I was a player, if I ever caught myself in front of one, I'd be there for a long time. But I think mirrors are good. I think they're good. If the right person is doing it and they know what they're doing in front of it and know what to look for. But I think there's nothing better than video. So
no doubt. I think, to echo your point there, do you use video delay at all, the video delay app?
What is that?
So this is kind of dangerous, but we have an iPad that we use for like side view, and to get guys to slow down just a little bit, you set it on, so it videos it, but I set it for about a 3 to 4 second delay.
Yeah. And
so team practices, not usually, but if we're doing, one-on-one individual work, it's really good, and it'll record their swing, but it's on a delay, so they'll be able to finish and then look over and just see what you're looking at.
Oh, wow.
So it's almost like a mirror, but mirrors are really expensive, and this is a $7 app. But
I'll have to check that out. I wrote it down. Video delay app.
Yeah, vid delay, I think is what it's called.
Vid
but
delay,
it's really good, and it's gotten some guys, and we talked about this off the mic, do cardio swings, and so it's allowed them to take 5 seconds in between swings to look at what they're doing and then to see what the difference is and whatnot, and then take a breath, and then instead of like swing, cardio swings for sure.
I was a big cardio swing guy. It didn't work too good. So yeah.
So this next video that I've got here, I love this one. So I call this one the line drill, but you've actually got it with a net. So you've got this player, or I guess you could call this the net drill too, I'm sure. You've got this player backed up, their butt is almost against the net, and you're flipping balls over a plate. And just walk us through this one a little bit.
Yeah, so I don't know why I called this the hallway one. I don't know why. Just kind of looks like there's a hallway, but it's a couple different things. So one, that's Coach K in there. What we're trying to do here is flip the ball right underneath their hands.
Okay.
And all we're trying to do is you don't think about anything mechanical at all. It's a what I call it's a result drill. So it's like we're going to flip the ball here, hit it as hard as you can through this hallway or through this window, whatever you want to call it. When they do that, it takes the thinking out of it, and we're just trying to get that hand path to stay, like you said, on the line. Like we want to stay on that line as hard as we can. Now, in a game, ideally, maybe you pull this pitch in the gap, but we're in the cage and we're flipping the ball 28 miles an hour, and no one's going to be mad about it in the game if you get an inside pitch and stay inside it and stay in the big middle, as we call it. So it's just a way of doing a drill correctly, but not thinking about the mechanical aspect. It's like, hit this ball right here. You can't physically hit it through that window if you pull off and hit the net or if you cast your hands a little bit, you can't do it. So it's a way to make guys mechanically correct with just saying like, hey, we're flipping the ball here. You hit it there. It's important to drive the ball through there instead of, kind of manipulating it. And that was a big drill I did last year with a kid at ASU, Sean McLean, who had a big year. He really liked that. And a kid named Hunter Haas. Like those were the first guys I ever did it with. And then a few guys here really like it too. I think it really helps. I'm big on, finishing above that front shoulder on inside pitches and not underneath. I think you got to be really, really strong to, backspin balls and do it that way. Some guys can, but for the most part, guys can't. So what that drill does is help you really stay inside that pitch and get your finish. And Bregman called it the flashlights, keeping them on the wall, keeping them on the wall as long as you can. It's really, I think that video, I saw that. I didn't make this up. I promise you, I didn't make this up. I saw it somewhere, maybe a different form of it. I'm trying to think. There's a guy in Arizona, Zona base. Maybe it was him, somebody. I mean, no one makes up their own drills. If you make up your own drill, it's probably something crazy. But no, it's a way to be mechanically sound, extremely simple. It's just like, here's the ball, hit it here. Now, hey, look at yourself. Oh, wow, that's great. Now try to recreate that feel in the game.
So this would be for guys who kind of get east and west with their swing.
Yes, exactly. They don't get forward. They get around the ball. Big like front shoulder pull off guys, like guys who can't keep that thing in there just long enough. And this just cleans up the hand path. Like it's the most natural way for the hands to move, in my opinion.
Cool. I love it. So this next one, let me see. We've got a pool noodle that is about a foot in front of this player's front foot. This pool noodle is vertical. It looks like a very large tee that is about, 3.5 feet tall. And then you are flipping to this guy. He's not against the net, this one, but tell us a little bit about what's going on with this one. So
when you do the one on the front, it's a little more visual than what it actually does. But at the same time, see, that noodle's a little short because he's broken about 3 or 4 of them. But he's working on hitting a pitch to right center. His issue has been, and we do it 2 different ways, but when he sees that lane there, if he keeps his hands and he steers them the right way, he never hits that noodle. If he pulls off and kind of pulls the outside pitch, what we don't want him to do, he clips it. So it's definitely more of a visual for him, like staying in a tunnel here, not flying open early, staying on the baseball away, driving it to center or right center. Because this kid's arms are so long and he's so strong that he can take pitches on the outer half and hit them out down the left field line. Which he'll definitely do on off-speed pitches this season. But when you're doing cage work, you want to try to be perfect. You want to try to, when you're flipping a ball 30 miles an hour, you want to try to be perfect in everything you do. And that visual for him is just like, okay, I can't go there. You know what I mean? I can't do that. Like the ball's middle away. I have to stay on it. When he stays on it and does it perfect, like his bat will just barely touch the top of that thing. When he gets a little around it, casts his hands out, gets a little around it, he'll drill it. And good thing it's a $1 pool noodle instead of a $140 tee, which I've done before and I had to ruin my whole lesson with the kid. So
you only make that mistake once.
Yeah, only once.
All right. So this next one, we've got pool noodle here. But this one is on the outer half of the plate. So you're taking this noodle it looks like it's on cardboard, which I think is awesome craftsmanship. But it's covering up about the outer half of the plate, and the noodle is on the outer third. So a little bit different placement here. It looks like the same kid, but tell us what this one is about.
So this is really similar to what the hallway drill, like same concept. Just a little bit different. Again, this guy's issue has been kind of coming out and around the baseball. So just different ways to enforce him staying tight to his body and getting his finish up. And we do it on this side just for him to pull the ball correctly. So I get really close to that thing. Like I try to get as close as I can just so how long can he keep his barrel behind his hands before he goes to finish? And like I said, we've broken 2 or 3 of them, but who cares? It's like I really try to get maybe an inch or 2 away from that thing just to challenge him. Like, how long can I stay in that position, before I come out? So it's like, again, we've seen that drill before. I think Robinson Cano, I think was the first guy I ever saw do it with an L screen. And you've seen guys do it in many different ways. Again, I saw someone on Twitter, probably, they were like, just throw a pool noodle over an old tee. I found these are like little metal poles, I think were used for Adidas display. I stole out of the closet and had Hutch grab us a couple pool noodles. And I think they thought I was crazy, but once they saw the drill, they're like, okay, that's pretty, nothing odd, nothing. We don't do anything, anything wild. So, but there's a few guys really like that drill, and it's something I haven't done until here, really.
So I noticed, so you've got two plates. Is this two mats sitting next to each other, or are these actually?
No, that's two mats.
Really
yeah. Two mats. So we do a lot of two plate stuff. I'm not sure I sent you any two plate drill, just anything we can do to disrupt timing or change timing when we're doing harder stuff. So sometimes we'll just have a fastball and you start on the back plate for 2 or 3, front plate for 2 or 3. Usually it's 2. So you go 2 on the back plate. Those are just kind of to get you going. You go to the front plate, the velo is obviously going to be harder. Like that first swing, like let's try not to miss that first one. You know what I mean? Like, cause that's game like. And now the most important one to me is when you come back to the back plate, that first one, it's definitely the goal on that one is eliminate a pull side ground ball. Like, because the speed's going to be slower. I don't care if you pull it. Let's just pull a low liner or stay on it, not a fly ball, not a ground ball. And it's okay to pull it. And it's kind of just simulating that where you get out in front and you just keep going a little bit, carry your bat speed, carry your hands with you instead of just giving in to the pull side grounder, which is usually an out.
We've done that a lot with like Oppo curveballs machine. And it's like, all right, so the goal is not to hit a ground ball to shortstop for righties. And we got lefty curveball. Inevitably, like the first 6 swings, there's like pull side ground balls. I'm like, I was like, okay, so how does this get you out? And they're like, swing and miss. Okay, cool. Like swing at balls, whatever. And we get out in front and we pull it on the ground. It's like, okay, let's not do either of those things. And it's like, okay, well, that we tried. So we're going to continue to try and get better with that. Oh man, good times. I also like the 2 or the 3 plate. Not just for, you may not have this problem, but I know in the amateur baseball, we have guys that'll throw 90 plus, and then we'll see guys that throw like 72, and they'll be like, oh, he's throwing too slow. And so it's like, okay, well, we've got to adjust to that too. Like that's a big difference, but you may not see that huge of a gap, but you'll see, I'm sure, some thumbers who throw 81. Oh yeah. And you got to hit those guys too.
Yeah. You inevitably see a lefty on a Sunday from somewhere, and they're slow and they're funky, and it looks like on video you're going to touch them up, and then they come out there and you're in the 3rd inning and you have no hits, and you're doing what I like to say before every meeting, like, hey, let's stick to the plan and avoid the 3rd inning hitters meeting. So Trace would get a little impatient if we just started off wrong, and he was completely right. He'd say, get them together and go back over what we're doing. So whenever we face a guy like that, like, let's stick with what we're doing. You guys have worked on this, and let's at all costs avoid that 3rd inning hitters meeting, because none of us like that. So
no doubt. All right. So this next one we've got, it looks like you've got some sort of L-shaped device here. It's right in front. Go ahead. Yeah, explain it.
No. I mean, it's multi-purpose. So that's just a hitting L. Like you put on the line and you put your toes on it. It's just, I'm huge on direction. Like I don't like guys striding across their body, or everything to me is directional forward to the middle. Like I'm big direction guy. And this guy's not using it for that. He's actually using it to, I got this from a Doug Lotta. Doug's out in California. Actually I played with his nephew, Toby DeMello's at Arizona, and then actually got to go meet Doug. Great guy. And I got this from one of Doug's videos, and he just has the guy step over the board, and what he's trying to do is eliminate the back shift for one, because this kid had an issue with getting stuck on his backside too much, big, strong guy, but also being able to work forward, carry his hands with him, not reach for power, and just kind of flow through it without pulling off the baseball. And and I added an element to doing it from the offset open side, just to give him a little more feel on it, give him a little more success. And he's gotten a lot. I mean, he's just a he's getting stuck on his backside. His basic is sit and spin, and just trying to get him off it a little bit, get him more 50-50, carry his hands with him. And, he's not quite there yet, but he's getting really, really close. So it's and I got that I saw on one of Doug's videos and talked to him about it when me and my boy Caleb got to go meet him. So he's, I take stuff from everyone. I'm not sure I have an original drill in my body. So it's just stealing from other people and communicating well on it and executing it and find stuff that you think works.
No doubt. Love that. So you got off angle, which would be like right field side, almost like second base angle. And then this next one, we are more of like shortstop angle. And tell us a little bit about the technique behind this one, or what's the takeaway with this drill here?
It's all the takeaways are the same with my philosophy. It's just doing it in different ways, and it's all about body position. So to do this drill correctly, you have to stay on that line. You have to be tight to the body with your hands. You have to keep your shoulders square as long as possible. And with this one, we're going every other. So you'll see he goes oppo to pull. To pull. And when he pulls, it's pulled correctly with loft and backspin. So real big on trajectory of where you hit pitches in the cage. And I think you'll see on one of them, he hit on the oppo one, that one, he hits the net. So then we go back to oppo and you stay on that one until you do it correctly. So then he gets to go now back to pull side. And for me, if you're a right-handed hitter, it's almost like a line trajectory wise, like in the cage, like right down the right field line, you should be low. And as you go around the field, I know I'm getting off the screen here, but you get what I'm saying. You should go from as low as you can on the right field line to as high as you can down the left field line. And just the trajectory of the swing. And to me, that trains what I like to call the correct finish. And Torkelson was the only guy you could actually – he was just – it'd be like Torque on the right center pitch, make sure you finish, you're going to be a little lower. Left center, it's going to carry and be a little higher. And he was just different. Like you could literally tell him to do that, and you sound like a bad hitting coach, honestly, saying that you did that, but you haven't got the chance to work with that guy. It's like playing a video game with a guy on 99. Like you could with most guys, though, it's just about how you train it. Like you can't say that. So it's like, hey, we're going to be low in this instance in the cage. As we carry to the pull side, we want to get it a little higher. And in the end, a low line drive is the best thing you can do in the cage. Like, we had a saying at ASU, and it hasn't picked up here yet, but just off the top. Try to stay off the top of the cage, drive it to the back net. I made up a lie that cages were designed like this for a reason. I don't know if it's true. Sounds good, and guys kind of bought into it. So just with this drill, we're obviously over. So he's shooting that window here, and then the pitch comes inside. He's not doing anything different. He's just catching the ball a little sooner and getting his finish up. And it's about out, in, perfect body position, adding some difficulty to a flip. You can stand in front of a guy and flip. I have an 8-year-old who can drive the back net every single time. So let's challenge him a little bit more. And this kid does this drill every day, and he's seen a lot of success. Like he's going right center gap. He had a double down the line our last game. So it's when you do slow down stuff, as much challenge as you can add is great.
Okay, so this is our next one, and I think this is the last one that you're doing flips. Then we'll move to the machine here. Yeah. But you are standing on the oppo corner. So for this left-handed hitter, you are standing at about the shortstop line, and you got two foam. It looks like foam balls in your hand.
Those are Jugs light flight balls for anyone who wants to know. They're really good, and those are Trey Hanneman's. I think I'm saying his last name wrong. He's going to kill me just because I'm on the spot. But he makes the half bet, and Trey's a really good follow on Twitter. But he and this is again back to a lot of what I teach and preach. It's about staying close with that front side, and palm up, palm down type of deal, and staying on the baseball. This guy had a little bit of an issue with spinning off with his front side. And as you'll see in one of them too, it's kind of a 2-part drill, controlling his toe tap. So the second one, I kind of pause, and I made him watch, even though he's not built like him at all. my favorite toe tap of all time is Prince Fielder. Like he taps, controls, and waits. So in a lot of his flips, he doesn't know. I'll go to flip, or if I'm doing overhand, and I'll just stop, and he'll just be there. And then I go, and he goes instead of he'd tap and go. So you see on the second one, I kind of hold it. He holds it in rhythm and keeps going. But these half bats are I'm not real big into gadgets or gimmicks, and I don't think this is that at all. Like, this is one of the best things I've ever used. I think even if you don't have the issue, like, who doesn't want to be flat in the zone? Like, it makes you keep your bat in the zone as long as possible, and those balls make a really distinct sound where if you don't do it correctly, you can hear it. So I love those. I love that bat, and I think just that drill is, you can do it from the front. I've done it out of a jugs. You can put those balls in a machine. I've done it out of that before. So those bats, and that's just a really good drill. I think anyone can do. Heck, you could do it in your living room with those balls. So
no doubt. So now we're moving to a little bit more of a stressful environment here. You've got looks like two big hacks, one with extended legs behind, one that's a little bit shorter. You guys are on field. What do you got with this one?
This is just what I like to call a tunneling drill, where you know what's coming. So on the top machine, I think we have it set at about 84 miles an hour with a 2,400 spin rate. So we have a spin rate gun. I know some people don't, but big mistake I made first starting out was like, hey, hit off this machine. It's hard. It'll make you better. Not checking the spin rate. Sometimes those things shoot it. Just a ridiculous. And it's not something the players ever hear. I don't ever talk to them about spin rate. And then on the bottom one, you have a breaking pitch that's about 15 or 16 mile an hour slower. And 84 out of a machine, if you don't know, like that plays really hard just because that instance of going through the hole. And they got 2 on the fastball, 2 on the breaker, 1 on the fastball. And it's really just about making adjustments, and can you be successful when you know what's coming? Because obviously in a game, we don't know what's coming. So when we make it challenging and you know what's coming, can you be successful? Now this fastball is set up away, breaking ball is set up middle. It kind of moves here and there, but the idea is to drive the fastball to the right center gap, stay on the fastball timing, even when you have the breaking ball, keep your bat speed up and hammer it to the pull side gap. If you recognize the pitch early and hit it oppo, awesome. Not telling anyone to go up there and try to yank breaking pitches, but it's the fact when you see a really good pitcher and you can't dictate or you can't read it early enough, do you keep your bat speed up and go to pull side? And I don't know if you have audio on this or not. There's a good swing right there. Sure. The pitch before that, going back to, pitch recognition, he takes it. The second to last pitch he takes, and he goes, what was that, a 7? And like, yeah, that's a 7. And that's part of, and I actually have it right here, if you can see, but we train, everyone's heard of the 7 ball drill, right? Like, I don't mean to throw this around, but
I love that.
It's something we use from front toss to BP to this. I mean, it's not out there, but like, this is a full speed environment, stressful environment, as you called it. And this kid's in there on his last swing and he goes, wham, is that a 7? Like, yeah, that's a 7.
I love that.
Like, and this and he looks back and he goes, "That a 7?" And you know what? Honestly, I don't know if it was, but heck, I like how it made him feel and what he thought. I'm like, yeah, that's a 7, dude. But no, it was, and it's just like that's how we train. Like every pitch is important. Swing at strikes, take balls. He had just swung at 5 pitches in a row, and when one was out of the zone, right out of the zone on a 7, he took it. Like that was the best rep of the whole video. Not the home run, not the breaking ball home run. It was he had just swung at 5 pitches and then he went, boom. Is that a 7? Yeah, that's a 7. Like that's plate discipline, pitch recognition, swing at strikes and take the balls. Sure.
One of the, one thing that I want to add before we go to your last video here is adding that into like, for us, for instance, we've got, 50, almost 60 guys, and inevitably there's a couple of cages that they're going to be doing flips. And especially, so you're thinking in season when you've got 2 JV coaches, one of them's with pitchers, one of them's throwing BP, how do you hold kids accountable? This would be one of those ways to be able to do that, of the 7 ball drill. And one thing that after every, or you have them hunt 3 balls, or you can
Right.
have them just say which one it was after they hit. And then we added a height a ladder with letters on it too. So then
on the
after
side.
yeah, after every one that they swing, they'll go, that was H and that was 7, which is like ball low and way out, right? And just to give them some different feedback. But like you said, it develops that common language of, hey, that was a 7. That wasn't, hey, that was a ball away. Well, a ball away could be, 27 inches wide, right? So it pinpoints it a little bit. I know some people use zones, but I love that system. I think that's fantastic.
I never used it, and it was Coach Sloss's thing, and man, I love it. Like, it's just, it's so simple, so elementary, and just goes back to, I think, why me and him have easy working for him, because like I'm unapologetically simple with the players. Like the things I do outside the scenes, getting the spin rates right, looking at zones, just looking at crazy stuff, but making it as elementary as possible. Like, how much simpler does it get than that?
No doubt.
And you can take something simple into a high pressure situation. It's just way more applicable than I don't know what else there is, but it's been great. And I mean, guys have really taken to it, and it also helped with the guy. I mean, that same guy, real quick, but a right-handed hitter, you put it goes out from 1 to 7, right? Well, he was back to body position. Any ball that was a 3 or 4, he was getting so leaned over at the hip, he was calling it a 2 or 3 or a 1 or a 2. And I'm like, no. And he's like, what? And that's something we were working on. I'm like, dude, like, this is great. Like, think about, you're changing how you see the ball. And it's not designed for like to be a mechanical fix, but it really helped him from the mechanical thing, because he would get here and he'd get turned and he had no loft. Like, everything was hardened around. He hits the ball so hard, and it just made him have a cleaner entry, little better posture, not too – and even have a little bend at the hip, but he was getting way over the ball, where it's changing not only his swing path, but how he saw the baseball. So it adds a mechanical element to a mechanical visual style element when you use it that way. So it's been great. I love it.
Well, one of my favorites is, hey, where do you like the ball? And they'll be like, oh, I like it in. Okay. So then we put it on, balls 1 and 2, and they're like, no, you're right. I don't like it in. I like it on the plate. Like,
yeah, that's right.
So this is the last one here. Similar look to it. This one is another machine, and this one is in a cage.
Yeah, it's just left-handed slider, and you'll see too the lefty slider is not set up down the middle. Like, it's important that it's either relative arm slot. So it's not a lefty slider coming down the middle and breaking away. And this is honestly something that we started doing when I was a player at Indiana, and Tracy Smith took with him. I think it's the best drill we do. It's the righties hit off the righty slider and the lefties hit off the lefty slider. Now, we do both where they do the other, but we're not training to hit a slider here. We're training to stay on a challenging pitch, a hard, challenging pitch, and stay closed and stay on it, stay on the baseball and hit it the other way. If it backs up, which they do, great, pull it correctly. But we're trying to go to that top left corner, left side without hitting the top and staying on the baseball. And I even have our switch hitters hit off it, but they don't hit off it from the opposite side. And at first, I think they thought, I'm like, let me explain to you why. They're like, why is it not just a fastball? Well, when you add that hump from the slider into it, it adds a body position element to it where you don't come up with the break. You have to stay on the ball. And one of our guys, his switch hitter, absolutely loves it. Like, he does it every single day. And it's like, it's not real. Like, you don't hit off a machine in the game. Like, don't overcomplicate it. But we need you to stay on the baseball from both sides. And you've heard a lot of guys say, like, guys who get pinch hit for left on left, they're like, man, I need to see lefties because it makes me better off of righties. Why? Because they're more concentrated, staying closed on the baseball. So this is something I've done since I was in college. We did it at ASU. We have automatic feeders on these now where guys can hit off them when they want. And, it's hack attack wise, I mean, for our level, we have it. If it's a lefty, then I think the left one needs to be, no, excuse me. I'm turned around here. It's 9-3-3, and whatever side you want to break to, the opposite wheel on the top has to be the harder one. So that's on 9-3-3, and guys really like it. Like, you have to stay on the baseball or you can't hit it. Like, it's as simple as that. Like, throw mechanics out the window. Like, stay on a challenging pitch, drive it the other way, and you'll have success. So, and
Sure.
Once we started doing this, guys really, really liked it.
So it seems like you guys are really focusing on, well, and you mentioned the plate discipline-wise, swinging at strikes and taking balls, which I love. But it seems like a lot of stuff that has come down to this fall has been path, like bat path for you guys, like staying through baseballs.
Oh, yeah. Coach has a saying, like, use the big middle, which I've adopted from using with this guys to hitting with my son in the cage, yesterday night. It's like, you can have a lot of success if you try to stay in the middle of the field and not complicate the game. Like, I think when you guys get out there as hitters, you're in the cage and you're like laser, 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 because your vision is forced to be right there. And when you get out on the field, I know I felt like this. You get out there and it's like, whoa, there's so much space. So we really like to, I call them sights or windows, like keying in on certain areas. And I know when Caleb was on the show, he talked about this. Just, where's your visual at? Okay, I was off the baseball right here. I need to just shift my sights over a little bit that way. Okay, bam, I'm good. Or, man, I'm still off the ball. Let's shift. Or, hey, I'm a little behind. Let's shift our sights back a little bit. And just visually where you're looking and mixed in with your body position, I think can give you a lot of success. And putting that, I mean, last year in Arizona State, and we'll have here, we literally had windows 1 and 2. And in the dugout, just for visual purpose, we had our signage on the wall. Like, this was, I think it was like center to Jimmy John's is window 1 and then window 2. And it was a way also in scouting reports to, kind of have an approach against guys and simplify it. Like, hey, like this guy early in the count, like you're going to want to be in window 1, but if you face him with a runner on second, like, be in window 2, slightly more oppo, and that's not sitting on an off-speed pitch. You're still timed up on the fastball, but what it does is it gives yourself more, more plate coverage, more room for error. Yeah, maybe you're susceptible to a fastball in, but you show me a college pitcher that can just dot fastballs in consistently, then, we're probably not going to beat you anyway.
Thank you for listening to Ahead of the Curve. If you enjoyed the show, please consider leaving us a rating or review wherever you are listening. I also wanted to remind you that you can find the video portion at the AOTC channel on stickandball.tv. Have a great week.